Hi everyone, just want to do a quick video tutorial for you today on these little, what I'm calling carnations. I put this on my blog a little while ago for the Festive Friday challenges and just wanted to show you, had a few questions about how I actually made the little flowers for this tea light jar, and it's really quite easy, but I just thought it's easier to show you in a video. So basically all you are going to need is a tea light jar, if that's what you're going to put your flowers in, or whatever you're going to put your flowers in when you finish. A styrofoam ball. This one is about 4.5 centimeters in diameter, but basically you just have to get balls that will fit the circumference in the container or whatever you're going to put your flowers in when you're finished. And you will need to punch out a whole series of flowers out of the blossom punch, and for this little project that I'm doing, I made 6 carnations in total, and each carnation requires 3 of the flower shapes punched out. So depending on how big the styrofoam ball is that you're going to cover will will sort of determine how many flowers you need, but for each flower you're going to need 3 of these. Okay, so once you've done all the punching, the next step for the flowers is for the 3 of them, you have to get them all looking like this, which has got some little cuts in them. So I'll zoom in quickly, guys, and show you how I cut, oops, the wrong way, how I cut these flowers. Basically all I did was I used each of the little sort of divots in the flower punch as a guide to where I'm going to cut. So I put my paper snips in, and basically I'm doing it pretty slowly to show you what I'm doing here, but when I made these, I really didn't take much care, and I snipped really quite fast and rapid, and it doesn't really matter, but you're just going to go around and you want to leave about a 1/2 inch, I suppose, circle in the middle. Well, it's not a very good choice to show you all this, but I hope you can see what I'm doing. I've just snipped at each of the little recesses along the outer edge, and basically it doesn't have to be even, doesn't have to be neat. And this is honestly how I would chop them for all of my flowers. And they're not even the same length, but it doesn't really matter. You just go in and... Okay, they're not even, they're not straight, doesn't really matter. As long as you end up with all 3 of them looking like that. That's what you need. Okay, so let's go back out and show you what to do once you've got all 3 together. Once you've got all 3 together, it's a simple process of really being very careful, because you've got quite thin pieces of cardstock there. Just give a light curl up for each of the 3 flower shapes, and all that really does is just help us with the manipulation that I'm going to do in a second. Just softens it up just a little bit. Okay, so once you've got all 3 of them sort of half curled, Tombow glue is the best for making 3D flowers. A little bit in the centre, and then just layer all 3 together like that. And then you just got to do that for as many flowers as you need. Now, like I said, the one I'm using only takes about 6 of these little flowers. So I've gone ahead and made the rest of them by putting the 3 layers together. Once you've got all 3 layers together and with the Tombow glue, you've got to turn them into these horrible shapes. It doesn't look like much at the moment, but this is basically how you get them to stick to your styrofoam ball. So to make that shape, all I do is I just gather up all the outside leaves, like that in my hand, and then I just give it a bit of a squish down. That, it's not very pretty, but then I open it sort of half back up and do just the inside layer and give that a quick kind of crunch like a flower center. Then the next layer up, give that a crunch, and then the last layer. Now it doesn't really matter how it looks at this stage, because once you get it onto your styrofoam ball, that's where the shaping basically happens. So let's get our styrofoam ball. Now I'm going to use this glass just to show you how I do it, but basically you'll see that your styrofoam ball sort of sits half into the into the jar, sort of like that. And basically I start at the top with my flower adhering, and I find that hot glue is the quickest, easiest and most sensible way to put it on. Yeah, it does melt the styrofoam a little bit, but the big thing with these flowers, if you use Tombow or anything else to adhere them to the styrofoam, it moves too much and I find it really frustrating. I want the hot glue to set almost immediately so I can really squish my flowers in together, and I'll show you what I mean. So that's the first one in place. I just stick it straight on the top, okay? And then I move to the sides, and what I want to do is I want to be squishing up my flowers as tight as I can by putting glue and resting them sort of together as tight as you can. You want them sort of meeting so that you don't have any gaps, okay? And then I just work my way around. And what I'm going to do is leave a little bit of a gap there. Oh, this may not work, guys. Oh, trying to show you in the camera and glue. Okay, squishing up in there. And then it leaves me a bit of a sort of smaller gap at the top, larger gap at the bottom, which I'm going to fill with another flower. So squishing that right up in there like that. So you sort of got two high and one low, two high and one low, and that really fills in the sides of those flowers. So then I just move to the other side. Geez, I'm going to need more flowers this time around. Don't know what I've done differently. But basically, guys, you just have to keep building your flower ball, filling in as many flowers as you need to cover your styrofoam. You don't want any styrofoam showing. Squishing the flowers in as you go. Now you will get those lovely hot glue strings as you cruise around. They will come off. So obviously I need another flower at the back there, and I have not prepared that one, guys, so you'll have to just trust me that that one will go on. So then once you've got, I'll take the ball out to show you what I'm doing here. Once you've got your flowers all sort of adhered on, this is when the final manipulation sort of happens. I sit and just open up and close up petals, individual petals on my ball, until I kind of get happy with the look. And really it's such an individual thing, depending on how you like, how scrunchy you like your flowers and how flat you like them. And I honestly will spend ages playing with them. You probably don't need to spend very long, but I do, because I just get really fussy. But flowers are not meant to be like that, guys. So you just kind of go until you're happy. And so I can't even stop fussing with it now, and I just want to show you quickly how to do it. But anyway, so I'll stop fussing. You've just got to arrange your petals, open and close them until you're kind of happy with the look. They do look quite pretty in white on their own, but in this example here you can see that I've lightly gone over and sponged it with some Calypso coral ink. So all that's a matter of doing is grabbing the ink that you want to use and a sponge dabber and giving them a light sponge and just giving them a little bit of colour on their edges. And yes, I do it once it's all together. I don't sponge them individually, and the reason for that is that I like to see how it looks as a whole project when I'm sponging. But you could sponge them individually before you attach them if you want. So just go around and add a bit of colour if you want to your styrofoam balls. That's as easy as they are, guys. I hope you do get to making a few carnations and see that it is quick and easy to do. The fussing is what takes the time. All right, enjoy that, guys. Bye.